What's up, Miniatures Paintbrush Legion? This is Rob, your host, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to talk, and I'll show you me painting, and we'll go through some of the processes, processi. I don't know how it's worked. Well, how are you guys doing? I know I am excited. I've done a series of palette cleansers, which I'm going to talk about a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about Hobby OCD, which is a little different as well. And, I'm just going to talk about the new things that are happening in Warhammer 40K. Not everything has to be a major release or something like that, but there are some releases that I'm excited about right now. All right, so let's go down to Table Town and see how we do this. Ready? All right, let's start the hobby. Whoop. There it is. All right, so here I am. I'm painting some Thunderwolf cavalry, and I put out a poll onto YouTube saying that, what would you like to see while, in the chat, what kind of projects you want to see me go through while I'm in the chat. And the most popular one so far has been my Space Wolves. How you know how much I love my Space Wolves, right? And, I took a break from them. I needed to take a break from them. I've been painting quite a bit of the Space Wolves, and I needed to take a hiatus. So I started with the Flesh Eater Course. I did an entire army, and then I did a palette cleanser. Once I finish a project, I like to do a palette cleanser where I completely paint something unrelated to miniatures or paint terrain and do a large project. And I'm really excited about a huge project that I'm actually doing right now. It'll come out actually. But right now I'm actually focusing on my Space Wolf so I can have Space Wolves content on the channel. That's the tutorials that a lot of people join the channel because they like those tutorials on the Space Wolves. Now I do change it up because I am not one-dimensional. Like I do like different themes and different kind of armies that I want to paint. I want to be able to, and this is my goal, I want to be able to have several armies. I would say about 3,000-ish points or maybe 4,000 points of an army. And I kind of want to have several armies. And the reason why I want to have several armies completed and painted is that, well, there are some people that want to get into this hobby, but they don't really like the painting or anything like that. And that's the thing that's holding them back. And I want to eliminate that one bit that the painting and the hobby is holding them back. Now, I would like to have several armies completely painted in my cabinets, ready to go, that if somebody just wanted to buy a codex and choose from the models that I have painted, we could play a game. Now, well and far, my games are going to be narrative. That means sometimes one side is going to have more power than the other, and all the other person has to do is reach a goal or something like that, and I have to stop them with all my force. So kind of thematic armies. I have realized that I'm not into just, match play where, we're two generals on the field and we're just trying to find out who the better general is, which is a lot of people like to contain Warhammer into this nice little neat box where, games have to be played in match play style and lists have to be competitive. And I get it, because there are so many people that bring lists that are like tournament size list and kind of shoot people off the table. And then to defend yourself against those people, you feel like you have to have lists that are competitive too. And I totally get that, but not everybody's like that. So there's different people out there. Personally, for my Space Wolves, I am in a conundrum, and maybe you guys can help me out. So I know that with the onset of 9th edition that they have these Primaris Marines that have chain swords. And the first thing I thought was Blood Claws, right? Replacement for Blood Claws. That's that right there. But I don't feel like I want to invalidate my Tactical Marines. Like, I know GW wants to put out a new product, and I know that my army will not be competitive. But, you know, we can modify the game so this way it is even if you want it to be. Or we can play narrative missions where all I have to do is reach an objective or keep an objective for a turn or two, and I would win the game, as opposed to just blowing somebody else off the table. In fact, if the other person had a larger army, they have to try to blow my entire army off the table. But if somebody survives, then, you know, I still got the goal. I win the game. You know, we could play games like that, or we can modify the rules. I mean, if it's a homebrew game that you're just playing, I mean, I have a table that we're playing in the basement and we have a homebrew game, then why not? Who cares? Who cares if Tactical Marines would have 2 wounds instead of 1 for the purpose of one game, because one army is overpowered compared to the other one, but you want to kind of even things up. It's not going into tournament records, and it's not being publicized, and you're not being criticized for it. If you're in your own basement playing your own game, you could play it however you want. Like, really, you could proxy whatever you want. If you want to use, let's say, Creature Caster instead of GW models, I mean, go for it, right? And if you want to create your own terrain in your houses and it's not GW models, right? Go for it. It's about the same thing. Some people craft terrain and they're like, oh, but it has to be GW stuff. Like, who says that, right? But some people are like, oh, no, the rules state this particular, like, rule lawyering kind of thing. I've never been that. Like, I played D&D before. I was DM, and I had no rule lawyers allowed. You know what was allowed? Everybody having fun. That was it. That was my main concern. At the end of the day, people were laughing. People wanted to continue the campaign, even though I didn't have notes and I just had to wing certain things. I just went with it. I had one campaign that actually lasted an entire weekend, like Friday, all day Friday, from Friday morning all the way over to Sunday evening. And we slept. And let me tell you how we slept. All right, so people started falling off the table, but they did not want me to leave as a DM. They wanted to know how the story ended. So I kept on getting the story, and people were like, boom, falling off the table. Like, dude, come on, let me sleep. You should sleep. And this, but at one point, everybody fell asleep on the table, and then they woke up and we continued playing. But that's the kind of event everybody wanted to do it. You know, they just didn't want to miss out on anything. And, you know, that's the kind of game I like. You know, everybody's having fun. All right, enough about that. I mean, everybody, you know, to each their own. But, you know, all those people who want to do and are those like real rule lawyers and then have to do that, then that's fine. Then you don't have to play against me. I don't have to play against you. Wow, there you go. You just lost a player. And the story, right? There's so many players that you can just lose them, right? Consequently, when people are beginning and you blow them off the table, you lose those players too. Yeah, you're just saying, you know what? You made a mistake by choosing the Sabi. That's what happens, right? And they say, okay, well, and then you just lose them, and then you're stuck playing the same 4 people, 5 people, day in and day out, no changes, same army, same list, whatever. And if you're happy with that, then again, that's you. That's awesome. But there's that too. All right, so I think I'm going to call this paint and tangent. That's what it seems like. All right, so look at this. How I clean my brushes here. Now, I rinse them out thoroughly here, and I put them on the paper here, and I twist them. See that? Watch. Twist and pull out. I always do that to maintain the point. There's a tip for you. I'll get it. A tip for you. Love that. Love that. So, yeah. Let's get back to Space Wolf. So I'm in a bit of a conundrum. I'm thinking about, you know, replacing that. Well, I was thinking about replacing all my tactical Marines for the Primaris ones, but I just don't feel right about that. I just don't feel right about invalidating my minis. And yeah, I know, I get it. I mean, I could just play Primaris and have more options in that list and so on and so forth. But, you know, I don't know. Starting to get a little tired of the powder blue. a little bit. I still have a lot of minis to paint in that powder blue scheme, but they, I don't know. Some people have mentioned to me, I know Big D from the Gamecraft Dragon channel. I was mulling around some ideas, and he's saying that Dark Angels has a lot of iconography, and that it might be something I would get into. So I would have Space Wolves and Dark Angels. I don't know if I want to do. I already have some Dark Angel Terminators from 6th edition, 7th edition. Yeah, 7th edition. 7th edition, that starter set. I did not like the bikes on it, though. I don't know. I was always been against the bikes, but the new bikes are coming out, and I don't know. I guess with the Primaris Marines on the bike, they look cooler than the Tactical Marines, but still, again, I don't know. I kind of want to change it up, and I have enough for an all Primaris army, that's for sure. So maybe try a different faction. I don't want to do Blood Angels. My buddy Scott Frazier, good guy, man, awesome dude, and he literally gave me 2 Land Raider Crusader tanks. Of course, I'm going to wolf them out because they can carry Tactical Marines, right? Or Wolfen. Wolf Brother Mythos from the channel Frost and Fist told me that you just pump in some either Terminators or some Wolfen in some vehicles and run them up against the board, because you really want that Wolfen as close as possible. You don't want them to get shot off the board. And I get it. I mean, it makes so much sense to me. I'm only painting 1 unit of the Wolfen, though. So, yeah, there's that. Here's a game. Think about this, all right? How would you play a game, 2,000 points, but you could not duplicate any of your units? You have to have 1 unit of everything. What would that list look like? Okay, Math Hammers. I'm putting you to the test. What would you bring to the table if you can only bring 1 unit of, you do intercessors, and you could do reavers, and then you can do 1 unit of, whatever it is. What would it be? Just curious. And this is, I want to say, this is a bit of a new format. Record me painting and then talking about it. Right now, I'm doing the Rider of the Thunderwolf category. I'm blacklining. I believe so. I'm going to go back and forth. Actually, yeah, I'm just doing the, I'm putting in some Dragonov Nightshade into the recesses. I like that dark blue for the in-between Ceramite, I would say, armor. I do that. And then I'm going to blackline the things. Blacklining is amazing. Absolutely amazing. But we'll get into that. So, anywho, what would that list look like if you can only include 1? I mean, that's the kind of game I would love to play, because that's the way I paint. And guys and girls, I know you got the models for it. So, you have several units, right? You should be able to. Your army should be large enough. The people that I know anyway, armies should be large enough that you should be able to make 2,000 points with just using 1 unit of each. Okay, so there it is. Which means I can only use 1 unit of tactical Marines too. So, I mean, it works for everybody, right? Named characters, you can only use 1 of each. Well, so you can use a lot of named characters. I can imagine that. I mean, it just sounds fun to me. Interesting. Something to break up the monotony of everybody trying to get the perfect list. It's too uptight. It's way too uptight. In fact, I was talking to Vince V, Big V, and he said, come to the AOS side, man. He's telling me that, and I've noticed that a lot of people playing 40K are pretty uptight, way wound up. They're not just, they say they're just rolling dice and having fun, but they are not just rolling dice and having fun. Anyway, whatevs. I'm not complaining. Life is life, right? I just know this, that if I meet a certain type of player, I don't have to play against them. There's no rule saying that I have to play against these people. I'll be like, okay, never mind. You don't have to play against me. So far. That's the way it is. Speaking of which, I did get someone to come over and do a bat rep of AOS with me. They also have 40k army, so I might be able to do some battle reports. Sounds great, because I try to get my wife to do the battle reports, and it's like not her thing. But she's a good sport. She played some Warhammer Underworlds with me and whipped my butt. So there's that. Maybe she'll play another one with me. Hopefully. Underworlds. That seems to be her speed. And she's really good at it. So there's that. I don't know. You tell her, she'll go, I don't know. But the truth is like, she's really good at it. So let's see if I can make the step to AOS or something like that. Or 40k. But I have to have another army. Oh, right now, for 40k, I only have my Space Wolves army. So I do have to paint something else up. And I do have Death Guard, and I have Tau, and I even have a little. Well, now with the new that box set, Prospero. Is it Prospero? It's not Prospero. I forgot what it was called. Prophecy of the Wolf. That's it. Prophecy of the Wolf. I do have some orcs now, so that would be interesting. Maybe I'll add to that because I do know orc players. There's that. Anywho. Let's see what we got to do there. All right. So talk about the new format. So this is not actually live. This is actually pre-recorded, and I wanted to do a pre-recorded live session. And what's that? That's a premiere. They say that you can do a premiere session on YouTube. It's where it airs at a certain time, and I will be in the chatting like right now, watching this, chatting away on the chat, and you can join me and we could talk together, and I'll answer any questions just like that. Also does really great wonders when it comes to broadcasting, because I'm in the boondocks where my internet is variable, and having variable internet means that, well, you've just seen it before in some of my live shows where I have two cameras going, and my high-end camera is broadcasting to the Google Hangouts, and I know some people like Google Hangouts, whatever, but it's not that. It's that I forget to not put my really nice DSLR camera at 60 frames per second when doing a video call to a camera that I'm really not using. I'm just kind of tricking AOS to do it. So if I lower the resolution on the camera, I think it would resolve some of that issues, because that's double the speed for no reason whatsoever. Or I get a cheaper camera and have that secondary camera, maybe a Logitech, little cube thing. Maybe I'll get something like that. And then I'll have those two cameras, and I think everything would be working fine. Or I could try Whereby, which some people swear by. You see what I did there? All right, anyway. So I'm actually live in the chat. This is live because I'm live in the chat. So I don't know. I'm just trying something new here. Tell me if you like it. Hopefully you do, because this is a lot less stressful format than a live show, because there's a lot less things that can go wrong, like bandwidth and this, that, and everything else. Like, that's not even a concern. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about the new releases for GW. First off, I want to talk about the action figures. I like the action figures. I know my buddy Nick Beer from Eating Beer 40K does not like the Necron figures, but I can appreciate one thing. They're contracted by Todd McFarlane. And Todd McFarlane, for the people who are younger and do not know, he used to paint Spider-Man. In fact, he did Spider-Man, and I have his Spider-Man comics, like the first time he did Spider-Man #1, #2, that one. back in the 90s when they rebooted the Spider-Man series. I don't know if it's the Amazing Spider-Man or what it is, but yeah, I definitely have Todd McFarlane's work. And I was a fan. It was like over-exaggerated, over the top. And then when I played D&D back in the 90s, I used to have, paint figures. Go figure. See what I did there again? All right. I painted figures for the gaming table, and I also bought Todd McFarlane's dragons, and I use them for D&D sessions because the D&D dragons that they put out from TSR, I don't know if they were WizKids or what, they look okay. And I bought them too. I had the red dragon, the black dragon, I had all of them. But the detail with it wasn't as good as if I could paint the dragon a lot better than the detail on that. And so I used Todd McFarlane's dragons, and I love Todd McFarlane's figures because they are very highly detailed. Now, one other thing about these figures that I really, really like is that I think it's just the Space Marine though, but it comes in a blank format that you can paint up to any faction that you want to paint up to, any color that you want to paint up to, that Space Marine. So that's pretty cool to paint that. I know painting a figure would be interesting, especially a large figure. And I like large figures because you can do blending a lot more easier. Your edge highlightings looks sharp as all get out because you don't have to be as careful as painting on something so small. And yeah, it's just definitely pretty amazing to do. So if you don't like the colors of something like that, you can paint them. Like, I airbrush that sucker if I get it. I don't know if I'm going to get it or not. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't decided. They're kind of cool. I'm a fan of Todd McFarlane. So I just wanted to say something about that. Those action figures. Actually, the more GW produces for our hobby, the better for our hobby as a whole. So, I'm always promoting things for GW because I really want to see the entire hobby and community grow. I wanted to get the same acceptance as D&D because that's like so worldwide and so popular that it's starting to become a household name, which I'm amazed. I'm blown away about that. So yeah, that's the news there. Psychic Awakening. I don't have the Sagas of the Beast. And I'm hoping, I know that it's just going to come in the next codex, and I don't feel like I'm, paying a whole bunch of money. If anybody has the information just for the Space Wolves and, want to contact me just to have a chat about, the new stuff, let me know. We could talk about it. Anywho, that being said, yeah, I know, definitely. My painting comes way before playing. I do want to play with the figures that I paint, but essentially my goal is that I looked at the box of miniatures that I bought back in the day and I said, wow, I can never paint like the box art. And right now I look at the box art and say, all right, I'm going to have to try to get a little neater and cleaner than the box art, which is tough. In some cases, some boxes are, blow my mind. But the old like 90s artwork and stuff like that, some of the stuff that I have in the boxes, like Battle Force boxes and how they're painted up, and as long as I can paint, I feel that I can push it a little further than that, then I'm happy when I'm painting an army. And now I'm working on my speed painting muscle, so I really want to get a load of projects done because I have a big pile behind me. And I really want to start knocking them out, and I want it, and I will not skimp on the quality. So that's a really important thing for me. So I want the quality to be really good. And I got to tell you, I did this Space Wolf. I did it. This is a 1-day session. That's it. Just 1 day, get it done. 1 mini, 1 day, right? And that's the Thunderwolf, the basing, and a tutorial on the Thunderwolf, recording that, making sure that everything is in focus, and filming this as well, all in 1 day, and it came out really, really well. I can't be happier because like I really did a lot of details in it, and I did it pretty quickly. Yeah. All right, so time for some red. You see me drawing into the wet palette. You're going to see me use a wet palette, and then I'll use the regular palette. I keep on switching back and forth. You're going to see how I do, because I usually just take one color and another color, but you can actually see me on how I use a wet palette right there. I always wick off the paint before putting it on. Look at the brush strokes. Look how I'm placing my hand. This is really important. If you want to steady your hand, and my hand shakes, I'm telling you, I get the handy shakes. This is another reason why I really want to paint as many miniatures as I possibly can, as quickly as I can, because I'm noticing my hand shaking. And, you know, when it comes to getting older, things like that only get worse, you know? So I'm trying to really speed paint through and get all the armies that I have behind me as done as I possibly can, and have plenty of content for the channel. If I can have enough content for the rest of the year, that would be amazing. You know, really. And then it'll just be on autopilot, right? And you'll just keep on having, and I'll have time to work on really huge projects, you know. Warlord Titan. No, I don't have one of them. I would like to. I mean, I wanted to get Supremacy Armor for Tau, but I kind of like got, you know, back-ended on that. Whoa, news on that. So I bought a Supremacy Armor for my Tau army, which I have not built Tau, except for one, and it wasn't part of the army, nor did I buy it. Somebody gave it to me, and it was unpainted on my desk, and nothing can be unpainted on my desk, so I just painted it. Wow. Okay. So I painted it up, and but yeah, no, I haven't opened any of the boxes. I haven't started because I haven't thought of a scheme, and I might go for the white and red. I mean, that's pretty cool. It's different from what I got. I got a lot of teals and I got a lot of blues, and I kind of like want to stay away from that a little bit, or at least vary it up, because my Space Wolves are blue, my Stormcast Eternals are Celestial Vindicators, meaning they're teal, which is a blue, and or blue green, and so that's why I had to do I had to work on my Flesh Eater Quartz, because that's green and red, and that's definitely different colors on the palette, and I really wanted to do that. But I kind of keep challenging myself with different colors. I don't want to fall into a niche. That is when you get pretty decent at painting one thing, and then that's all you paint. That's another thing too. I might switch up from the Space Wolves, because I don't want to fall in a niche where all I'm doing is painting Space Wolves and that's it. You know, because then I won't get better as a painter, because I'm not using different colors. I'm just using the same color palette over and over and over and over again. And that's great if you just want to paint up an army. But if you don't want to get, you know, like really awesome as a painter, like you can get good as an army painter painting one army. You'll be really good at painting that one army, but as an overall painter, you're just one-dimensional, and I just can't do that. I'll stunt my growth as an artist, so I always have to change it up. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Hobby OCD. I've heard a lot of people talk about Hobby ADD. And for the people who don't know what I'm talking about, it's when someone's doing a project and then they jump to another thing, and then they jump to another project, and then they jump to another project, and then, oh, look at that shiny thing, and I'm going to jump to another project. And a lot of people, most of the people have that Hobby ADD, where they jump from one project to the next project to the next project to the next project. All the competition artists that I've ever met, well, not all, but most, fall into the category of Hobby OCD. And that is where you work on two projects. That's it. You work on one large project. When I say a project, like my Flesh Eater Quartz is one project. That's it. So 3,000 points of an army is one project. So you work on one project, and you do that till it's done. And if you get tired of that project, you move on to project number 2, which is possibly terrain, or, you know, an endless spell, or, you know, some side project that's not a major one on you know, to just, switch it up. And it's healthy to have two projects running, and that's just not me saying it. It's been researched for the mind to have two projects. Anything more than that is too much. And then you can get burnout. So if you want to stave off burnout, have just two projects so you don't feel overwhelmed. So getting back to hobby OCD. Now I have OCD period. I do. I focus on one thing and then I have to see it through to the end. So if I start up my Space Wolves, I'm going to do all my tactical size Marine Space Wolves that I have and any vehicles that TAC Marines can fit into and my flyers and, anything like that. I'm going to paint up. So there it is. And I will do that project until it's all done. I want to see boxes gone. I'm working on 5-6 boxes at a time. But the entire project will get done. It's the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I get into a mode where I'm like a machine and that's all I focus on. And a new shiny comes around and then I buy it. I put it behind me and it stays in a box. There are things that literally have been in that box for 3 years now and I have not touched. But I will. And when that project comes to light where I'm focused on it, then I hyper focus on it until it's done. I don't jump from another project to another project. Again, 2 projects is my limit, and that's the healthy version. So if you get tired of one, you switch to the other, and that's it. I rarely work on more than that. And I tell you, it's really healthy and very rewarding when you come to the end of a journey, especially when I'm working on the speed pacing muscles. Like I'm going to go back to the flesh eater courts and talk about them. That was an amazing project. And it felt so good to get it done. It felt so good that I saw it through to the end. It was so rewarding that not only that, that now I know how to play it. I do have the battle tome, and I got the malign sorcery, I think it is, and there's a new one. I did not get that yet, but yeah, there's that, and I can definitely play it. I have a list and it's ready to go, and that feels so good. That feels so good. That's the only army that I fully completed, I would say. Fully completed. One benefit of being OCD with your hobby is that you get things done and you see things through completion and you get that satisfaction. Some people say, I can't get, no, but you definitely get satisfaction with that feeling of completeness. But that's not the only benefit of OCD project. I'm going to talk about a terrain project that I did, and it's called a Warp Strider Terrain Table, which is an entire table worth of terrain that I painted up. And man, oh man, there was another project that I did, and oh my gosh, so satisfying. And those things go together easy, and it's terrain, so they paint it up super quick. Like it was like 2 colors and a couple accent colors, and that's about it. That's it. Done. And it was amazing. It was amazing to work on and very satisfying. Exhausting because I speed painted the whole thing and it came together super quick. But so satisfying as well to get that done. And I think, I'm currently starting up this Space Wolves project by popular demand. And this is my speed painting right here. Look, I'm not stressed out. I'm just looking at different areas and painting that too and going off. You got to notice my brush techniques and notice how I'm bracing my hands. That's super important. I do want to show how I brace my hand, how I dip into the wet palette and go back and forth. Now, when it comes to anything white, I sometimes wick it off. Not all the time. Kind of use it pretty thick. Because white and the properties of white. The molecules are a little bit different, and they use powder to bind the pigment because they can't use lead, and it changes the consistency and how it behaves, so it doesn't behave like other paint. So you have to be careful with that. So I usually put it on pretty thick. Pretty thick. It still takes 2 thick coats. I mean, not so thick that I obscure detail, like medium thick. You know, like me. Medium thick. I don't know. So much fun to work on the Spaceballs again. I took a hiatus and I needed a break. Like I was burning out. I was definitely burning out. I did 2 Thunderwolves Cavalry and I could not finish the 3rd one. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I'm like, I am so Spacewolf burnt out and I needed a palette cleanser. And these 2, the Terrain Table and the Flesh Eater Quartz project really, really were game changers and got me refreshed to finish out my Space Wolves army, at least the attack marine size Space Wolf army. I'm also going to do, when it comes to the first Primaris I do, I have the Primaris Captain, Ice Wolf, Ice Pelth, Harold. I got that guy. And I have a Wolf Lord that I want to do, and Primaris. And I have Ragnar I'm going to do as well. So I'm going to do those models there. They're going to go and be painted traditional blue. They're going to be Primaris, and they're going to be into my Space Wolves army. And I think at that point, once I get the tanks done and the flyers done and Logan Grimnar done, I do have a Night Titan. I'm going to paint him as Canis Rex because, you know, he's wolfy, and I do have Canis Rex. So I'm going to build him up like that. And I bought all the Canis Rex upgrade sprues. Thank you, eBay. And yeah, so I'm going to do a tutorial on how to paint that Night Titan. I think that Night Titan, I don't know if it's going to have any freehand or anything like that. I think I'm going to paint it up the way it is. But yeah, freehand in itself, each piece of freehand will take anywhere from a month of painting. You know, and I know I just have a life aside from video editing. Like, I want to paint more miniatures and get more content. I don't want to be bogged down for the next 5 months video editing, having no content for 5 months and doing that. No, I mean, you know what freehand is? Freehand is, you know, what people on canvas do. It's called painting. That's what it is. It's called real painting. Freehand is real painting. It's been around for a very long time. In fact, it's been around way longer than miniatures and miniature painting. So yeah, just painting. Yeah. So if you do want to do freehand and you want to learn how to freehand really well, I highly recommend you go to your local college and you pick a painting class. There's freehand right there. Yeah, just learn how to paint. And it seems a little obvious, right? Learn how to paint to become a better painter. Ta-da! Yeah, that's freehand anyway. So yeah, getting back to the OCD. See, I'm still on track. I go everywhere in my conversations. I do go on tangents with my conversation, but just not with my hobby. All right. So yeah, Hobby OCD. Where you focus on something until it's done. And that's a special breed because people who have hobby ADD usually think that everyone is like them. You know, you get your perspective, you state your perspective, and you think your perspectives apply to everyone. Egocentrism, that kind of sets in some people. And not me. I like to stick to a plan and see it through to the end. And I have that completion, you know, and I want to be able to complete, like I did the Flesh Eater Quartz. I want to be able to complete the Space Wolves and start a new venture. The question is, what do I start, right? If I'm going to do a all Primaris army, do I create my own faction? Because if I create my own faction, I could just literally throw them into it, the Space Wolves, if I wanted to, and say, this is blah blah company. I don't care. It's the same miniatures. They all do the same thing. Speaking of which, yeah, you guys can help me out on what faction you think. You could throw some ideas out in the chat. Again, I'm live in the chat, so you can type and I'll type back. Yeah, what Space Marine army should I paint? Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. Oh man, I just lost my train of thought. I just derailed myself. Oh boy. It'll come back to me. It'll come back to me. But yeah, Space Marine Army. Should I paint Ultramarines? I know everybody hates them, but when it comes to painting, I can see myself painting the entire army because it's so easy to paint. Now, granted, I don't paint in the heavy metal style. I'm more of a Treverian type of painter. I'm more of a Vince Venturella type of painter. I'm more of a, I can be more Sam Lindsay type of painter as well, you know. But yeah, not the heavy metal highlight everywhere because yeah, I get it because it pops. It does when you double and triple highlight on every edge surface. It does pop and it does look good. It just doesn't look realistic because light doesn't do that. Like when you shine and you had armor and light shines on you, it doesn't reflect that way. It doesn't. It doesn't reflect in the shadow. It doesn't. But, you know, I'm not going to tell you how to play with your little army figure men. Anywho. Yeah, Hobby OCD. You should try it sometime. See a project to completion without jumping to the next project. Well, I have at least 2 projects that you can dump into and out of. And this way you're not overwhelmed or burnt out. Yeah. I really forgot what I was going to say before. Anywho, I think this is I think this is a valuable thing because hobby and chat in this way, you can actually see the way I naturally paint, how I jump from one thing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. When it comes to one miniature, you know, I jumped from paint to paint. And every painter that I've ever seen does that. They'll like, oh, I'll put a little green here. I'll throw a little highlight there. Oh, let me paint some metallic stuff while this is drying. And oh, let me put the highlights on the metallic stuff while that is drying. And let me do this. And they just jump back and forth when it comes to that. So I guess the OCD, the hobby ADD comes to changing paints, I guess. I don't know. I have never seen a painter not paint in that style. Do you paint? How do you paint? Do you paint one color for the entire miniature and you know exactly where that's going to be, and then you switch to the next color and do it methodically like that? Because that's pretty amazing. Not me. I have it all on my palette and I'll switch to this color, wipe my brush off, go to the next color, add some different color. I'm all over the place when it comes to painting, but you know, I keep getting it done. I'm gonna paint the grenades over here and put it on the back there. So yeah, this feels great to finally finish the Thunderwolf Cavalry, which I've had on the back burner for months now because I burnt out painting Space Wolves, and finally I get to finish a unit. I've left it there unpainted. It gathered dust, and I did something pretty neat with it. I had a Cromlech 40, I mean the Thousand Suns, sorry. I got 99 problem in 1,000 suns. All right, anyway. So I have that head, and then I did a little bit of dust coming out of the head, and then I did a little bit of sparkly Scrappy Cat sparkle glue. That's what I did with that. And so I can make the dust magical, and it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. So I did a tutorial on gray wolves. Yeah, gray fur, I guess. Fur. And you see at Thunderwolf Cavalry, each one of the furs are different. I like that. I just wanted to do a variant. I want to vary it up. All right, switching on to metallics. Going that, and only use Vallejo metal color. At least I only do. Really great stuff. The pigment is so grounded up. It's pretty amazing. That's what I use. And I'm using my Happy Choice brush for here. Only because they're throwaway brushes and you don't want to use your good brushes with metallics, because the metal flakes inside the pigment itself will tear up your brush. So you can use a disposable brush, and One Happy brushes, I buy them 50 at a time. They're down in the description if you want to pick up your own pack. It's so really cool. It doesn't have a huge belly, but then again, I mean, it's just a really good brush for, thrashing. So raw air, right? So yeah, I'm gonna paint up the little cherub on here. Everybody knows, what is that cherub? Is that like 1,000 Suns charm that they picked up from killing 1,000 Suns? Like, it's like a little beetle. I'll paint the gold on here, on his little fanny pack with grenades and an extra clip. I gotta tell you, it was so much fun to get back onto the wolf instead of getting back on the horse with the Space Wolves. It's so much fun. So yeah, Hobby OCD. Try it sometime. Try completing your projects. You will feel so good about that if you do. Yeah, a bit of a hobby hoarder. I'm working on that. Oh, I'm just going to zoom in here so you can see what I'm actually doing. See if I focus. Yeah, that's pretty good. Just have to keep it right there. So yeah, I'm going to just do the gun clip over here. And you're going to see how I'm doing very, very small things. And how I'm going to do the base coat right now. And wicking off the brush. You're going to want to wick off your brush, especially using metallic. They kind of load into your brush pretty quickly. At least the characteristics that I find up with metallic paints, they really load up into your brush. They just creep up in there. If you're not too careful, they'll definitely get into your ferrule like in a heartbeat. Again, another reason why you got to want to use disposable brushes when you're using metallic paints. Really, really definitely want to do that. You don't want to ruin your good brushes. All right, now I'm going to go for metallic paint, and I'm going to switch up. And I'm going to use some leather brown. So that means the web palette's going to be open. See how I just switch back and forth? That's just the way it is. That's how I paint it. This top is actually gross. But I'm almost done with the bootstrap leather from P3. And I'm not brand loyal when it comes to paint. I use all kinds. You just have to know how to use it. Then put it on the web palette just a little bit. And wick it off as well. There you go. See how that's doing. You always test it out before you put it onto the miniature. Right now I'm going to do some edge highlighting on the strap of that clip. So you're going to see how I go back and forth and I'm not touching it and then I'm lightly touching it. See, I'm getting that muscle memory. See how I'm limiting the movement of my hand. Just ever so slightly. All right, that's one coat. I'm going to blow on it a little bit, blow on it, and then I'm going to try another coat. Wick. See the muscle memory. So it's going exactly the same way I did the first one. Dipping it back in, wicking it off just a little bit, and touching it just where it needs to go. That's it. That's how I edge highlight. Buzzing. All right. And I have tutorials on different kind of wolf skins, so you're going to see that as well. So yeah, definitely moving on for the projects, trying something new when it comes to live shows and doing things live. I like the premiere. I hope you really like the premiere. Again, I will be live in the chat, but this is pre-recorded, so this way there's no errors and stuff like that. And you get to chill and paint. So talking with people while during this pandemic, it's pretty challenging. I was going to get Tabletop Simulator, but I've realized that one of the coolest things I like about this hobby is that when I bring my miniatures to the game shop, people like to check out my miniatures. And like, oh my gosh, so detailed, so this, so that. And I think that's like the coolest part, especially if you have a group of friends and they're like, well, what have you been working on? Well, I brought this to the table for my army and I just painted this up and I just painted that up. And you go, ooh, and the oohs and ahs, man. That's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. All right, so I'm going to go with a lighter green tone from the olive drab, just to get the highlights on each one of those pineapple bits. That's what you call grenades or pineapples. Wicking it off here. You can see that lighter green, just getting the highlights on them. And just going like bloop, just picking them out. See that? Very light, very little bloop. Having the highlights on these things really add dimension and definition. Double D's, dimension and double definition. Whoop, whoop. The double D's of paint. I should start that. What do you think? Whoa, I'm just zooming in so you can see them right there. Right. I have to clean it up just a little bit, but I mean, it looks pretty good. All right. Wow, this is close. Hopefully I don't get out of focus here. It's always danger when you zoom in that close because you can really easily get out of focus with the camera here. So yeah, definitely working on some projects. And this is one of the things I love to paint and chat like this. I think I'm going to do quite a few of these sessions as well as I go through my projects, because doing things like a Night Titan, like if I have 1 week to do it, I'm not going to be able to. I don't think I'll be able to do a whole Night Titan in a week. It might not. It might take a little longer than that, you know. Although I technically built and painted the majority of the Space Wolves Night Titan in 2 days because I took a class with Mr. Vince Venturola. Speaking of which, I took it with CK Studios, and I really hope they're going to have classes on the East Coast. Hopefully, somewhere around the DC area would be great. I would definitely love to see that. And I have to reach out to Sam Lenz. I know he had something in Virginia over the summer, and I wonder if he's still going to have that. Because if he's still going to have that, I am down to take a class with Sam Lenz. Also, I might have him on one of these chat sessions. I think that would be kind of cool too. Sitting down with Sam Lenz. We'll see if I can get him on the horn and see if he'd like to do a show. I'm trying to do some new things with the channel. One things that I'm trying to do, I'm trying to, it's difficult for me, but I do have that Amazon affiliates links thing, and it's not because I'm hurting. It's more because, I invested a ton into this video editing hobby, and I would love it if I were able to, you know, sustain that, or possibly get that other camera and you know, and do things like that for the channel. And since, you know, my investment, I'm in no slouch. I've been investing quite a bit, and it would help out if you did. But if you didn't, I hate saying that because like, I feel like I'm begging and stuff like that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to beg. I don't. But it would be cool if you need to buy some stuff. I have some stuff down there. If you want me to put some stuff down into the affiliate links down there, I'll put a link down there. I'll hook you up with a link, and no matter what it is, and the channel gets a kickback if you buy that thing at no extra cost to you. So, you know, let me know. Let me know if you're going to buy some stuff on like Amazon. I'll give you a link and supports the channel. But if not, you know, sharing. I do want the channel to grow. I think that it's really important to have that big community, and I'll do my best to have quality videos, and that's really important to me. And I really do go the extra mile to produce quality material for you guys. So I get the better equipment, and I spend hours on video editing, and you know, I could probably paint twice as much as I do now if I didn't have to video edit, or I had someone video edit for me. Imagine that. Imagine the channel makes so much money I can hire someone, stimulate the job market, and all I have to do is edit videos. That's it. My video editor. How cool would that be? Right? What? That'd be amazing. And then all I had to do is create content, and that would be a dream. That comes with support. But no, sharing definitely helps. So going into the bass. Now the bass I did later. I didn't realize that I wasn't recording. And I did the bass and finished painting the Space Marine, basically. And then when I realized that the camera stopped recording, because it stops recording after a half an hour. DSLRs will only record 29 minutes because if they record a half hour or more, they're registered as video cameras. And if they're registered as video cameras, then they have to pass a whole bunch of other inspections that cameras don't. So I'm a DSLR shooter, so there you go. All right, so let me show you what I did here for the base. I did 2 yellow shoulder pads, really, and I'm going to put micro sol into that, and then I'm going to put some AK Interactive varnish on the shoulder pads as well. But yeah, I think the face came out pretty well. It's very dimensional. It has a lot of different tones to it. Base came out pretty sweet. Just have to definitely do that shoulder pads again. I went 2 yellow shoulder pads because, you know, I just felt like it. That's just the way that's the way I do. You know, nobody can tell me how to play with my miniature figures and my miniature toys. I play with them the way I want. I do what I want. It's definitely a lot of fun. I think 2 shoulder pads would be kind of cool for, I don't know, the remainder of my Space Wolves that I have to build. But definitely working towards a goal I'd like to see finished. You know, being that hobby OCD, I'd like to see finished. So I would love to paint up all the Space Wolves that I have currently for this project and move on to a different army. I would like to do that. So I can have a variety of armies that I finish to at least 2 to 3,000 points. I would say over 2,000 points. And then have that army and have it done. I have a lot of Tau. I'm thinking about selling off some of my Tau because I have way too much Tau. There's no reason for me to have that much Tau. So there's that. If I sell off half my Tau, I still have a lot of points in an army. So, anywho, oh, looks so good when you black line the miniature. It really is. One of the things that I use for some of the black lining is a Micron pen, 0.005. I'm going to put that in the description as well. So if you want to pick up a box, in fact, I just picked up more boxes. As far as the wolf color is concerned, I did do a tutorial on that color. So that's coming up. I think that's going to be my first project, doing the gray wolf and how to do a gray wolf. Again, AK Interactive on those shoulder pads gets rid of the glimmer for your oh yeah, and putting the right cap on would definitely help. All right, guys, I think it's getting an end of this here. Just do a little showcase of what I've done here. It's a lot of fun. Now I'm just analyzing if did I miss anything. That's the question right there. It's looking pretty cool. Here's the first one that I started with several months ago for the Thunderwolf Cavalry, and it was a lot of fun. And there's the gray one. I want to do a lighter base for the gray one because I wanted to blend it into the surroundings a little bit. And there's that other tutorial that I did on the Thunderwolf Cavalry. So they're all 3 of them. They kind of look pretty neat. I like the way they came out. Very, very cool. Yeah, play with the miniatures. That's how I do. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it for it comes to painting and stuff like that. I'm gonna go and I guess switch over here, and yeah, definitely go into this right here. So, what do you think about the Premiere? It's just so much easier for me to do it in the Premiere mode. So it would definitely help out if you liked it. I mean, if you don't, then I'll stop. But I think it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool and a lot easier to manage than a lot of the live shows. Now, I can have guests on and do it in this format too, which will eliminate a lot of the buffering issues that I continuously get because of the internet. So if that's cool with you, I would love to have guests on and have them pre-recorded, and then I'll come on live in the chat and premiere them. That seems to be an option. And, you know, I know during the pandemic, my church service is done in this fashion, and, you know, I kind of like it, you know. And I mean, I figured if they can do it, then why not? You know, try it at least. Anywho, hobby OCD, right? Just a different term. It's just something different. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too kooky, you know. I've been playing The Witcher 3. Now, I know I'm late to the party. I am. But I got this blazing fast PC. And it's working to its full capacity, and it is mind-blowingly fast. Like, I can whatever, and it'll take it like a champ. And be like, what? We're only working at 10% of capacity. What do you mean? You're rendering 10 hours worth of video with music and transitions and layer upon layer of stuff? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's not a pretty. Now it used to overheat because I have AMD Threadripper in there, and they're run really hot. And ever since like I opened up, I had these panels in the front and the top. And I don't know why I kept them on. Because they literally come off, and there's like vents and stuff like that where the fans can breathe. I don't know. It has a radiator in it for the water cooling kind of thing. I don't know. So why not open it up, right? So now that I open it up and it's breathing, it is working like a dream. Everything is working like a dream. The only thing that's not working like a dream is the buffering when I'm doing live shows, and that's because my internet in my area, we pay for the great internet. We don't necessarily get the great internet, but we definitely pay the premium, and sometimes it decides to work. That's how that is, right? So yeah, really looking forward to the Space Wolves project. And yes, I have quite a bit to do. It's so much fun. So much fun. Getting that done. Plenty of contacts. 2 Land Raiders, 1 Crusader, 1 regular las cannon, 1. So I have two Land Raiders that I'm going to wolf out and paint up for the channel. It's going to be a lot of fun with that. I have an Interceptor, like the plane, to paint up as well. Again, Canis Rex is coming up. I have a Logan Grimnar that I also need to paint. I have Wolfin that I'm going to paint up in this project as well. And I have Fenrisian Wolves project that I'm going to do. It's an interesting project that I'm going to do. And that's going to come up a bit later. I do have a Nigel Stormcaller that I'm going to paint up for the project. And I have Harold Icepelt. Oh, I remembered. And I have an independent Wolf Lord made up of an Harold Icepelt. So it's going to be a little bit different than that. So changing that up. And I have Ragnar Blackmane, which I'm going to paint up for my Space Wolves army. And that's going to be, that'll conclude. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do Canis Rex, but I don't know if it's Space Wolf. It is Wolf, so. And some people have requested me painting up a Night Titan as a video, so I'm going to do that. So, and again, Canis Rex seems like an easy paint scheme that I could just knock it out and just like done, right? So that's also, I included that into a Space Wolves project because he's a bit wolfy, and I like that. That I can just include him into my army. Yeah, so there it is. And then when I've done with that, I guess I'll do another poll. I'm surprised that a lot of people want to see me do equal measures at currently. They want me to do Stormcast Eternals, and they want to do Death Guard. So there's that. Tao's getting the least amount of love in my projects right now. But I am definitely going to do anime, and I like sketching some things. So I'll be a little sketchy. Get it? All right. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to tattoo my Tao wherever I can with anime. I think that'll be kind of cool. I think, yeah, definitely. Having fun with that. Anyway, that being said, I am super happy that you were able to join me on this journey. Again, I really hope that you like this format. It definitely works for me, and I like to doing these communicating. Also, if you have any questions, you want me to answer, I'll do shows about them, and I'll just like paint and chat and answer, all the questions. Put them down below in the comments. If you keep on interacting in the comments, it takes the video and puts it up on the recommended list for other people. So that helps the channel too. If you like it, also boosts it up. Even if you dislike it, you have to watch the video in order to dislike it, according to YouTube. So like it or dislike it, it still gets shown more. Controversial things that people don't like get shown and get pretty popular pretty quickly, actually. I just think Howard Stern, like so many people did not like him, and he got really popular. So there's that too. that too. There's some people I think of, like, that are like shock kind of things that put out content for 40K, and a lot of people dislike them, but they're pretty popular as well. Although I hope you like this. I'm really trying really hard to give quality content so that you would like it. That's my goal. But yeah. So if you like, you share with others. That definitely brings up more people to the channel. On your social media, say, hey, check out the TMP. That's awesome. Share with your other groups where you can. Hey, check out the TMP, or check out this video. I think, or if somebody says, hey, I'd like to do a Thunderwolf Cavalry. Well, I know I have somebody who does a tutorial for Thunderwolf Cavalry. Check out the video for the TMP. And just look me up in the playlist. It's a playlist for Space Wolves, and a playlist that's labeled Space Wolves. So that's pretty cool. All right, well, I'm going to call it. All right. It was really cool hanging out with you guys and girls. And I hope you guys and girls are having a lovely evening of painting and hobbying and talking about different topics and communing and, getting together with friends. Well, not really. 6 feet apart, right? You see where we are. See where where we are in September. I'm kind of worried because September is such a critical time. Well, late August now, because they changed my summer vacay. But late August into September is an essential time for me to establish, a repertoire of my students and kind of get to know them. So I don't know. For those of you who don't know, I am a teacher, so high school. So we'll see what this year brings. Anyway, that's a topic for another day. If you want to hear anything about this channel, or me talk about any other topics, please join me on the Miniatures Paintbrush Legion on Facebook. You can communicate with me there. And if you want to, be my friend, just, be my friend. Send me a message. Hey, I'm part of the Miniatures Paintbrush Legion. I'd like to be friends, and you can message me. Yeah, why not? I'm very open. My door's open. Come on in, have some fun. Play on the gaming table back there. Let's do it, right? Anywho, no uptightness, that rule lawyering thing, Anyway, if you like this video, like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we'll catch you next time on the Miniatures Paintbrush.